As we move more into the trajectory of the divine light of love, there are many options that we can choose from. For in this experience, we are allowed to feel and sense our way into what is happening with a greater degree of awareness. And as our intuition becomes more powerful, more in the flow of our daily living, it helps us to gain perspective and to realize that our intuitive consciousness, our intuitive realm, can also be reflected in our thoughts, in our thinking. That these two aspects of human expression of need not be in separation or even tandem. And that is the joy of the rhythm and the rhythmical expression of love. That it allows us to advance into a more thought-filled expression that is coloured and vibrant with the joy and the wonder of our intuitive light. So one can imagine a light shining into that complex, myriad realm of thought processes, the way we have been taught, the way we analyze, the way we respond, or feel we have to respond, or need to respond. And that the thoughts build, and the thoughts become our lives. And now that we are in this new trajectory, the trajectory of love, as it begins to reveal itself, we can understand that our thoughts are sometimes overwhelming. And this is at the heart of a human dilemma that is so talked about, so present in our lives at this point in time. And we refer to it as mental health. But really it is an opportunity to see our thoughts and to accept them and to understand that we are not our thoughts. This is not who we really are. And as our intuition begins to unfold itself into the thought realm and flow through the thought, the kingdom of thought, the kingdom of reasoning, the kingdom of judgment, the kingdom of all that we have endeavored to build the foundation of our so-called civilization upon. As the river of intuition flows into this realm, it begins to take on a different light, different hues of colour. And as we respond to this in our feeling realm, it allows us to respond in different ways. to take a step backwards or a step to the side and look at these thoughts and examine them through the power of the light of love. And this enables a deeper channel of communication to evolve. For we, at the same time as we are experiencing our thoughts, we can also be taking a step backwards and allowing the space and the spaciousness that that provides to shine a different light into this world of deduction and communication. So it's not so much about throwing out the thoughts, or feeling that they are somehow wrong or misdirected and need to be swept into the bin or put under the carpet. To know our thoughts, we have to accept them, we have to see them and recognize them and live with them. For this allows the spectrum of light, the light of our intuition, to gain momentum and to move into this mental realm and allow a process of rejuvenation and change and a different kind of wisdom to take hold. So it is really a process of integration, of opening channels of communication, of feeling, of sensation, of beauty, of grace, of wisdom. And slowly but surely we will see, we will sense, we will hear our thoughts beginning to change. Change the nature of their direction and be asking us for potentially and possibly the opportunity to see that ways of responding can be so many and varied. Once the river of intuition, the flow, begins to become more integrated, more aligned, more rhythmically in tune with our biology, with our cellular structure, with the body of light that surrounds us, with the experiences that we hold within us that have perhaps never had the opportunity to be felt, to be expressed, to be listened to, accepted, and understood. There is a whole world in our sensory realm that we can utilize and bring into play, bring into relationship. with the thought realm. And this, of course, flows. It flows into what we create, how we behave, what we are drawn to, what responses we would like to have in return. And so it goes on. This is an insight. It's a beautiful awakening of the divine within us. And finding the language to express this. And the feelings that are associated and are a part of this experience can then become a voice. For the intuitive realm is filled with sonic vibrations, sonic information that is beyond the realm of what we think we are capable of creating through our mind alone. And as we begin to examine this and feel this and sense this and bring it to life, the very core of our being starts to resonate and become more attuned to possibilities and potentials that were perhaps previously unimaginable. And unthinkable. Our sensory perceptions are becoming. We have this opportunity right here, right now. This is the energy of the times. The opportunities are rich, the opportunities are powerful and gracious. And of course we can open our hearts, we can open ourselves to the wonder of this, or we can have a pretending existence that none of this is happening, that it won't happen, it shouldn't happen, it can't happen. Many choices, many decisions, but the flow of this intuitive realm of grace will be there, waiting, ready, being. And once we say yes, it allows us to become more human, more energetically aligned to the spirit of being alive, of understanding how wonderful this life can be and how joyous we can make it. And when our thoughts begin to unfold through these energies, through these fractals of light, our communication, the very way we think can change and become more present and be a gift unto ourselves. And unto humanity and every living creature and the planet itself. This is how atmospheres are made. This is how creation is underpinned. This is how we grow. This is how we flower. This is how we celebrate and be in the wonder of creation itself. Amen.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, Danny. It's a while since we've been together.
It is.
One never knows what's going to come out of the flow, out of the field.
Just keep flowing. It's all, it's beautiful to hear. Just a question on intuition. What is intuition? Or how do you see intuition? How would you describe it?
Putting words to what is essentially an energetic form is always tricky territory.
That's why I'm asking you.
But really, I'm seeing intuition, and seeing is the sort of operative word, because it's not a thought process. It's an expression of our consciousness that has the ability to touch into other realms and deeper places according to the sort of personal frequency or vibration of our own being. So that someone else doing it, working in this field that I'm in, may be expressing a particular vibration or expression of this field in a different way, but it's coming from that intuitive process, that living dynamic inside of us that's always present and always has been, that allows us to be expressive in a deeper way. So it's like touching into a harmonic resonance that's inside of you. You could describe it in many ways, like a musical chord, like a composition, like or a painting or a landscape. It's a never-ending vibrational experience. And this is the dichotomy that we create or have created between those two realms is still quite, it's tricky territory for us, particularly in a Western society, because we have so much relied and put so much emphasis on reduction and deduction and those thinking processes, which of course are not to be, it's not that they need to be belittled or scorned. It's a matter of bringing the two realms together so that we can begin to express ourselves in a more resonant way, in a way that allows us to feel better, to feel more fulfilled and healthy and alive.
I mean, most people, when you say intuition, they get it. We've all had intuitive feelings or a knowing or something, a gut feeling.
It's true.
So it's actually not a complicated, it actually is beyond words, because I think what you've just said is really interesting, that it actually can be a musical note or a piece of art that is, it's all sort of downloads and connections. How does one, or sometimes people confuse intuition with like fear or thoughts, negative thoughts that are like disruptive to intuition, like I've got a bad feeling, and is that intuition or is that just a fear-based? Is there a way to know or discern between non-constructive? I was just thinking that, because sometimes it's,
Now we're in a realm of complexity.
Yeah. You don't have to answer it.
The thought realm, our thought realm is very strong. And that, again, depends on the, I'm generalizing here, but the thought realm has a different frequency for different individuals. And once we begin to introduce other vibrations, if you like, from our sensory realm, that thinking machinery can become very defensive and very protective and sometimes very difficult to understand, because it will naturally go into a defensive response. And if we can recognize that for what it is and just give it a bit of space and say, well, whoa, where did that come from? We can sometimes get the answers the answers are coming then through that deeper level of understanding, through the intuitive process, because it's very common for human beings to run a pretty strong program of feeling unworthy. I mean, I have heard that described by different people in different healers, particularly, and channels, as this is the disease of the age, is this sense of lack of self-worth and unworthiness. Because our programming tends to, consciously or otherwise, take us into that field that and then you're producing the thought realm to compensate, and it can get tricky. So the intuitive realm is affirming. It allows us to feel the sensations of our being in a more coherent way. It's a vibration that is inherently supportive and generous and loving and kind. And if we're feeling that we're in a realm of negativity or thoughts that are disturbing or disruptive, then it's not always as bad as it might feel. That if we can give it that trust and faith, then it will change. But there are so many ways also that people can reach out and get help, more than we've ever had.
What might some of those ways be?
There are so many, even in the field of psychology, there are so many different forms of psychology, so many different forms of analysis, and that for some people is so very helpful, because it gives them the space to unwind some of these complex responses and sort of protective agencies that we employ to keep us afloat in some cases. So even in that sort of mainstream realm of psychology, there's a lot to offer. But there's so many, everywhere I look now, there are so many different healing, people doing all sorts of healing that even 10 years ago were very fringe, or not even existing. And now that every day you're looking and you're seeing extraordinary things that people are doing.
Which suggests,
that's the whole range of working with crystals and light and images and meditation, and it's inexhaustible.
Yeah, which it just suggests that people are moving towards wanting, hopefully, to be better versions of themselves, experience this body life in a way that's more connected, and something's pushing it. I mean, it is interesting that what you say might have been fringe is actually coming to the mainstream, and more people looking and going to courses and asking, and gurus and psychology, whatever the mediums, but personal journeys.
Yeah, it's
walkabouts.
It's extraordinary, and none of this happens for no reason.
No.
We're there's a conscious or otherwise, there's an energy going out that's, and this is what's coming back. Oh, we need some help.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got this. You can try this. Have you seen this? It's amazing, really. And of course, there's still that. There's a sort of gap between what is so-called acceptable and what is fringe and what is nutty and what is this, that, and the other. But it's, in a way, if we can just accept it and see what's going on and say, wow, that is extraordinary. Because if we go back 50 years, it wasn't there. And that's not long ago. And now there's so much we can experience, and it is all these modalities, if you like, for want of a better word, are out now in the world, but it's always what we do with them that is.
Which is what I was getting to in the end. What's the point? I mean, what are we actually doing, and why, Actually, even before that, if I was to say to you, why are you sharing what you're sharing here? What do you feel is the point of this at this point in time?
Well, for me, it is all about, well, it's not all about, but the feeling realm that I'm expressing is just taking me on this journey. And it's interesting because I have worked primarily for 40 years on a very sort of one-to-one basis, very kind of boundaries and well, this is what I do. But now that's wanting to open out into a much wider field of expression, and I'm just going with it in the best way that I can. And there's quite a lot of strands involved in that. I'm just working on a book of prayers that's being edited. A lot of the essences that I've been using personally over the last 25 years are now coming into form. I've written a kind of nexus of what energetically they're saying to me, and how they want to be presented to a wider, the community at large. And there's this information that is that we're working with is the beings of light that I have worked with personally for so many years. It's just got bigger.
Yeah.
And I'm just going with it.
Yeah, we said it's very much this whole process that we've been through since the first time we podcast, and even the videos we've captured this far. It's very much an exploration. We're in like a kind of laboratory of the unknown, knowing that there's a feeling to share. Obviously there's information to share, but also not knowing where it's meant to land or reach, and also what it can become, which is exciting and strange and actually so far very interesting, I'm finding. But
yeah, it's good. Well, I'm pleased you're finding it interesting.
No, I am. It's at times I ask myself, what are we doing? And then the second you start talking, I said, I don't need to know what we're doing. It's like, it feels good. That's all. We're talking about intuition. Intuitively, it's just do it. Don't stop the mind.
Yeah.
The mind wants to pull it apart.
That's right.
No. I mean, if we just want to resonate with what we've been sharing, or what you just said,
And there's
this is a chance to do it.
There's that challenge when there's so many strands coming together and wanting to be heard and seen. My mind often goes to this sort of outcomes and expectations and what that does really is slow everything down.
Yeah, which is really important to acknowledge and vocalize for everyone going through a process, a creative process, or just trying to find their purpose, or whatever they're trying to do, is to recognize that the mind will do that. And we are taught to go for targets, goals.
Yeah.
Where's it going? Well, what if we just don't know? What if we just do it and let it land where it needs to? Obviously with the intention to serve, but yeah. This is actually a chance to really explore this, what we're actually talking about in the physical sense, with all the things that come up. Like embodiment of the actual And also things, as you're in the process, doors open, ideas reveal. When you're doing it, no one was just thinking about saying, oh, I'd like, be nice to make a video and talk about it, but you actually do it and things start to reveal.
Yeah, and it's been a journey for me, because once that decision's made, once that feeling that you can't ignore says, oh, let's take this out into the world, then you understand that, oh yeah, this is the way I've been working, and it's nice and it's comfortable, and everything that goes with it. But then when you start to try and put all these strands together, you realize, oh my God, I need to be able to work with people and find people who are, want to be on the journey, and that it's so the act of creation itself becomes more involved and involves other people, and it's great. It's amazing. It's so good for me personally.
Yeah.
Because it has shifted me out of.
Yeah.
And that was in itself was an interesting process of realizing that, oh yeah, I'm sort of not completely finished with it, but this part of my life is changing.
Yeah.
And it's good, and let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I think also, like, somewhere we're all being pushed to step up. It's not that we have to do anything, you can do nothing as well, but if you just step up, I mean, change the game, just move ourselves to, for whatever time we have left in the physical body anyways, just to, level up, just. And the beauty of the world and technology and everything at the moment is it can be done, and the reach can be very different, can be done differently. It's not actually that complicated to do anything. It's actually just about doing it again and seeing who finds you.
Yeah, we can choose to be terrified by that.
Yeah.
By the tech and what we might imagine that it's all doing or not doing, but really it's also amazing.
Someone can be sitting in an igloo in the Arctic feeling very lost, and might tune into 3 minutes of this and go, oh yeah, it's happened to me many times. I've just tuned into things randomly and gone, wow. And I think the unknown part of this can be very exciting as well. So, and complementary to everything you've done. And also, we're not even sure what's there's many pieces of the puzzle and they haven't fully come together yet. That's what I meant by the exploration, or the just letting it find its way.
Yeah. Everything's up in the air.
Everything is, and there's sometimes that bit of who am I to speak? Who really does anyone want to know? Really, it's that question, and then it's well, who are you not to?
Yeah.
Who is anyone to say anything?
I think the imposter syndrome is a big part of our self-worth crisis.
Correct.
And it's interesting when if you're going through, you're having a little scroll in a moment through Instagram, and the number of people that talk about that, whether they're actors or comedians or writers, or, oh, I just feel like I'm a bit of an imposter, who am I to be doing this?
Many of them can't believe their reach or their actual, that anyone's following or watching. Even though they know what they're doing and they're good at it and everything, and millions could be following, and then you hear them in a moment go, just, I don't know how this happened, I don't know why, and they're questioning. So there is this very human thing that you touched on today. It's very important. That's like the unworthy imposter, theme, and just recognizing it, but probably not giving it legs, not giving it too much, acknowledging that it's there and maybe not as significant, or making it not as significant as it needs, not letting it get in the way perhaps of creativity and potential.
I think it's that brings into play these deeper relationships with trust and faith, that in themselves they're energetic forms. They have a vibrational expression, and when all these human, very human expressions come out, like about, oh, I'm just an imposter, or I'm unworthy, or I don't really deserve this. It's what can take us forward and not let those things overwhelm us or take hold of us, that there's this whole other realm going on at the same time that is saying, no, just go with it. Don't take it too seriously. Move with it. See what happens.
Thank you for all that. Is there anything at this point that you're feeling or haven't shared that you might still like to share today?
Yeah, the more I sort of immerse myself in these different strands that I was talking about before, is that this understanding of how these dynamics have these frequencies. And the one I've been experiencing a lot recently is this form of being light-hearted. Your mind might configure that as being, just joking around and being silly, but actually it is a depth of experience, and it has a sensory realm that's absolutely endlessly present. And that once you begin to tune into what that is and how it is for you, and how your vibrational form interacts with that, it slowly but surely comes into play and comes into presence in everything. And that's something that I've really been aware of, and I become aware of it when I'm not there. It's like, whoa, because you just think, suddenly your mind just goes boom, and you think, oh, okay. But it's it's a beautiful, it's a totally amazing way to get that understanding. Because I've just realized that. I kind of understood that, it's just there when you're sleeping, when you're waking, and to have that presence of that light-hearted grace is, because then it goes into everything. It just does. It can't be any other way.
Mm. Yeah, when you said being light-hearted, the first time we did an event, obviously the first line is, your first level of that is, be light-hearted, be which is beautiful. But then I heard have a heart that is filled with light, and so on and so on. You keep thinking of levels. Well, what is it? It's a resonance. It's a vibration. It's a natural, a reminder to recalibrate back to that, and be of light and tune into light and light frequency. There's so many levels of. It's interesting that you chose, or it chose to come through you, that because it is the thread for everything we've been talking about actually so far.
It is.
It keeps coming back to that.
Yeah.
And it's revealing each time. It's revealing in a different way depending on where you're at and how you hear it. Which is also an important thing to recognize when people are listening to these at any time, at any interval. It will land differently.
That's right.
And I'm only saying that because sometimes I listen back to just trying to edit and get things together technically, and I'm like, wow, I didn't hear that. I heard it, but I didn't hear it that way. Or it's just depending on how present I am with, or where I'm at, it's received.
And how is that messaging? What is actually going on there? Because I don't know.
No.
Because for some people it's going to go straight over there. Might just go straight over their heads.
Yeah.
It might go
straight to the heart.
Straight into their body. They might feel it as a physical response, or go into that feeling realm. Or it's endless. It's a totally extraordinary.
It's interesting because watching the room of like 80 people the first time you spoke, more than half the room just dropped into complete you didn't ask them to do anything. You didn't even say this is. Just offered a process, and that was the bodily reaction, was to sit for 40 minutes in deep, just receiving. And the best thing one of the nicest things about the way you present that is it's not from ego, from, hey, I'm just telling you this thing I know and you need to get your shit together this way, which is a lot of the world at the moment. Here's a solution to a problem, and it's like, or this is a way, or this is just, it felt different, and it's interesting to watch how it is received. And some people were restless and distracted and then alert and tuned in. So it is, it's very much where someone is at, and it can change. Listening to this, riding a bike on headphones, or in the car, or in an office on video late at night, I love it.
Good. I was reading, I've been putting together this group of essences, and I was reading one that, some of these things I wrote, looking at it, I thought, oh my God, I wrote that nearly 7 years ago. But underpinning the thread of it is this, that we are beings of light, and this is where the healing is. The healing is in that. The more we can experience that and understand that and remember that, it opens up our ability to understand what healing is and how we can respond to that ourselves. That is healing yourself.
Yeah, that's a great reminder. And I think that's something that's really helpful at the moment for everyone to remember, is that we have the ability to heal ourselves and to do. It's great to be supported, and it's good to talk and share, but a lot can be done just through your own work.
It doesn't mean that you don't go and ask for help or find help, but it's important to remember that you don't have to give yourself over
Yeah.
to a system or another person or a modality or the latest thing that's everybody's got onto. It's
And they can complement in that. It's also like reclaiming our power. I think in this whole journey is like, or where we give it away. Sometimes we just give it away to, I'll go to this course and that'll fix everything. And hopefully I'll feel better after. And maybe you do for a day or two, but then you come back flat and your life's still not really necessarily moved. And it's not to say the course was bad or not. It's just, I think there's it's just owning our own power in this whole relationship with light and with our ability to be powerful. I mean, everyone has the ability to be a lot more powerful than we realize just by, looking at some of the things you're sharing here.
It's a beautiful mystery, Danny.
It sure is, and we'll keep discovering as we go. Thank you for that today.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a great pleasure. I really enjoy it.
Today, Thursday, the 5th of June for the record, just for the edit.